Hey guys, Jeff Schneider here. Today we're going to talk about learning standards. This question comes from Drew Thomas Saxophone on YouTube. He wanted to know my way for memorizing standards. I got a pretty good way to do it. I mean, I have a pretty good philosophy for memorization in general. It's nothing original, but it works well. So it all has to do with chunking information. And what that is taking little pieces of information and grouping it together. Kind of like when you learn a foreign language, or any language for that matter. You learn the letters, then you learn how to put the letters into words, and then you put the words into sentences, and you find these patterns that come up again and again. You know, you have words that are very common, you have word combinations that are very common. The same is true for music. So if you know what a 2-5-1 is, for instance, that's a really common chord progression. So if you're able to identify 2-5-1s quickly, it'll help you group three chords, three pieces of information, and you put that into one piece of information because you're not thinking about three chords anymore, you're thinking about, okay, 2-5-1. That's just one piece of information rather than three. Make sense? So let's take a look at a specific tune. I want to talk about Have You Met Miss Jones? I have it here on my computer, and we're going to just do a quick analysis of that. So the first four measures here are made up of four chords: F major 7, D7, G minor 7, and C7. Those four chords, if you were to analyze the functions, you've got 1, 6, 2, 5. 1, 6, 2, 5 is an extremely common set of chords. 1, 6, 2, 5. So memorizing those four chords and chunking them into one piece of information rather than four is going to help you grasp the tune much faster. Looking forward, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 chords here. This would be the third, this is the 6, this is the 2, this is the 5. So now we have 3, 6, 2, 5. That's also a very common chord progression. The first one we got was 1, 6, 2, 5, and then we had 3, 6, 2, 5. Okay, so both of those chord progressions are extremely common. Now, if you've never memorized anything before in music, you never memorized a standard, this might seem a little bit challenging. However, stick it out, commit those four chords to memory, those two common chord progressions, commit them to memory, and then the next tune that you go memorize, you'll see the same patterns again and again. And then you go to the next tune and the next tune, and I promise you will see these two progressions so many times that after you do a few tunes and you memorize them, it'll be a piece of cake, really. It'll be like saying a word that you've read 1,000 times. Okay, so let's go forward here to the bridge. We've got a 2, 5, 1 to B flat major 7. All right, we're going to the 4 chord here. What do I mean by that? Well, you know, the main key center of this tune is F major 7, is rather F major. So B flat would be the 4 in the key of F major, right? Because if you spell out the F major scale, you have F, G, A, and then B flat. 4. So going to the 4 chord for the bridge is another really common device. It's a really common pattern. So, my battery's gonna die. So B flat is the 4 chord, but we're gonna think of this as 2, 5, 1. Then we have another 2, 5, 1 to G flat major. Then a 2, 5, 1 to D major. 2, 5, 1 back to G flat major. A lot of 2, 5, 1s there. How do we break that down into something more manageable? Well, let's look at the key centers. We've got B flat, then we've got G flat, and then we got D, and then we have G flat. So now we have 4 key centers. Rather than thinking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different chords, we're just thinking about 4 pieces of information, 4 key centers. That's a lot easier to grasp, right? And we can actually make it even easier by taking a closer look at how those 4 key centers relate to one another. If you go from the B flat to the G flat, that's going down a major third. If you go from the G flat to a D, that's down another major third. And then you go to the D back to the G flat, that's up the major third. So you have these key centers moving in major thirds. That's just a pattern that helps us memorize, right? patterns, things that repeat, are easier to memorize. So it's really good to take a close look and see if you can find patterns within the harmony. After we get through the bridge, we do a 2-5-1 back to F. We've got 1, 4, 3, 6, 2, 5. This is another very common chord progression to memorize. We can break it down a little bit further. We have 3, 6, 2, 5. You know, that's the same thing we had here. 3, 6, 2, 5. This 1 going to the 4 chord, going to the 3, going to the 6. These are just really, really common chord progressions. So, like I said before, if it's challenging at first, you know, that's okay, but you gotta stick with it, because when you get to the next tune, you'll see the same exact chord progressions, really. So, it's a snowball effect. It gets easier and easier. Let's finish this up. We've got 3, 6, 2, 5. There it is again. So even within this one tune, that 3, 6, 2, 5 is coming up again and again. You've got the 1 and then the 2, 5. So there's so many 2, 5s in this, so already you're breaking down the information into smaller parts. It's all about chunking, guys. Find the patterns, recognize the repeated figures, and chunk the information together so that you're not memorizing a million chords, you're just memorizing a few. Or you're just memorizing a few key centers. Starting big picture, narrowing it down, get your key centers together, get your common chord progressions together. You know what actually can really help is doing what I just did, analysis. Take a look at standards, analyze the chords, see if you can pick out those common progressions, and you'll see, you'll start to learn the ones that repeat again and again. And you'll be able to commit them to memory. If you want to take it even further, you can start taking these very common chord progressions like 2 5s and 3 6 2 5s and you know, 2 5s moving in major thirds, all that kind of stuff, and you can transpose them into other keys so that you're able to quickly recognize those common chord progressions in other keys. We'll talk about memorizing melodies in another video, but it's important first to memorize the harmony, because the melody, you know, usually fits into that harmony. So if you have the foundation there, the melody notes will just kind of will sit in there, and you'll have an easier time memorizing the melody if you know the harmony. Okay, so we'll leave it at that. If you have questions, let me know. Comments, let me know. You can always shoot me an email at jeffschneidermusic@gmail.com. Please subscribe, and you know, I want to show you guys one other thing. This has nothing to do with music, but you know, I'm in a hotel right now in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and I'm desperately trying not to eat all this candy. But what do we got here? We got some Bean Boozled jelly beans. This is basically a bag of the marshmallows from Lucky Charms. By the way, this all comes from Robbins Candy, which is in, I believe it's in Great Barrington, Massachusetts. What do we got here? Movie trivia fortune cookies. I don't know why I'm doing this. Oh, this one's really weird. We got spicy jalapeno cotton candy. We got a toothbrush. That's good for all the candy. Okay, so that was random. Thanks for watching. If you have other questions, let me know. I'm gonna try to answer those questions you leave in the YouTube comments. And oh yeah, also, last video I talked about doing a live Periscope broadcast. We're gonna make that happen. I'm thinking next Saturday. So not this Saturday, but the one after, and I'll let you guys know a time as that date draws near. Alrighty, thanks for watching, guys. I'm Jeff Schneider. See you next time. Bye.